Yeah, hello and welcome to this video. This is the introductory video to my path, which means the experiences that I have made in my life. I want to show you how, let's say, from the mainstream and let's say materialistic point of view, I went to the spiritual path and why this makes also sense for everybody else. And how you can also do it, and how you can profit off of this. In this section of my path is specifically about my own experiences. So this will not be very much about theory or, book knowledge, but specifically my own experience. Because what I noticed, talking with so many people about my experiences, is it's actually rare, I would say, that someone shares, let's say, his experiences specifically about the path, whatever that means, but let's say the spiritual development or also a lot of wisdom that someone gained or insights. It's kind of rare that you share these things with others. And I feel it can be a very helpful thing to do. So that's one of my big intentions with this whole channel, is to share my experiences so that everybody else can profit off of this. Yeah, let's start with where I come from, basically. So I studied IT. I was working as an IT consultant for 5.5 years. And I think it was 6.5 years ago that I quit my job. It was in such a way that, when you I've noticed this for many IT people, that you have this focus on your intellect and on logic, like the left brain side. And at some point, I hope, there should be enough reflection to show you that there's some kind of an imbalance. And for, let's say, like if you're really on the left brain side for most of your work and you're also doing it in your free time, then you understand that there's an imbalance, and you think, okay, so what's the other thing that is there? But that didn't really change anything about my behavior specifically. It was more that the last half year in which I was working, I reduced my working hours. And when I did that, I had more time to invest for new topics. And I specifically remember that the first thing that started, let's say, the truth seeking, or, kind of like understanding more what is beyond the mainstream frame. There was a video about the money system. Do I recall the name of the guy? He's like very with silver coins. He's like a silver bug. No, I don't recall, but whatever. So it was about the banking and money system. And that was the first topic that really caught my interest, because I understood that it basically, money more or less dominates the whole planet. And if you have a lot of money, you have a lot of influence. So I understood that, people don't really understand how it works, because if they did, as Henry Ford said, we would have a rebellion before tomorrow morning. Okay, but that's maybe too much of a detail, So I was in this group, and we met once a month and talked about all sorts of things, like about health, economy, politics, technology. Sometimes there were also spiritual topics in it, but not so much. It was mostly about, I would say, conspiracies and just sharing ideas. So it was really good in terms of finding other people and seeing that maybe I'm not the only one, and I got a lot of it from it. I learned a lot. And when I was about to, let's say, split up from the group, we like shortly before that, we had a separate group with workshops on a specific topic. And the last topic that I attended was about a book. And that book is called The Celestine Prophecies. or the prophecies of Celestine, I don't know. It's kind of well known. And it's about a guy that like experiences basically what I'm telling you right now, like what my message is that you come from this limited perspective of materialism, and you know, like when you die everything is over and there are no, what kind of energies are you talking about, this kind of thing. And he understands that there is more to it. And what was for me something that caught my interest was we met once a week and talked about one chapter that we read. So we didn't, like I didn't read the book before. I was just reading the one chapter that we wanted to talk about. And that was how the whole workshop was set up, or the whole group. And I noticed that several times during the book that what happened to the main actor in the book, main character, was also happening to me. I was like, okay, that's really interesting. And around that time I understood, or I got to know the concept of synchronicities, which let's say you're a non-believer, right? So there's no magical things and no higher intelligence. This kind of people would call it just, you know, random. It's just coincidence, you know. There's nothing to it. But I started making a list about these things, about these coincidences. I think by now that list is around 30, 40 pages long. And I didn't even start 7 years ago. So I noticed also very quickly in the first few weeks that these things happen too often, and the chances of these events taking place is just, I mean, of course I cannot put a number to it. I cannot say, oh, the chance is 1 to 9,734. But it's something that is very specific and very unique and uniquely connected to my thoughts and my experiences. So over the time I understood that there's actually more to it. Yeah, and so by that time I would consider that was my starting point in the spiritual field. And many things have happened afterwards. A few of these I will be sharing on this channel. Just as a quick overview, for example, like telepathy happened and still happens. A lot of synchronicities, interesting encounters and experiences where I got the feeling that it's not a random encounter that I have, but there's something I have to do here. There's a message I have to convey, or there is a message that is being conveyed to me. And you know, sometimes I'm the receiving end, and sometimes I'm the giving end. I also very recently got initiated into Reiki, which is energy healing, which also I would most likely I would not have believed this kind of thing a few years ago. So I can fully understand if you're coming from the materialistic point of view that these things sound a bit silly to you, or you consider them impossible. But I'm really inviting you to be open, because the problem is if you think you already know everything, you can't learn anything new. Like you will create yourself this tiny box, tiny box of experiences that you made, and you think that's it. You think that's all. Imagine you're a 10-year-old, and then you say, okay, now I'm 10 years old. That's all there is to life. There's nothing more, you know? There's nothing more. And you haven't even been in love at that time, right? You haven't even been interested in music. So just imagine how stupid that would be. I mean, usually a 10-year-old wouldn't do it, but I'm pretty sure there's the attitude in many people. And you have to see and find this attitude in yourself and eliminate it, because you will restrict yourself unnecessarily, and in the long run it will cause suffering for you. What I also want to do with this channel is to broaden your horizon and show you that there is more to life than just 9 to 5, saving 30 years on a house, having children, drinking once a weekend, and going to vacations twice a year. There's definitely more than that. And yeah, I hope that with the experiences that I'm sharing, you will also find the starting point of your path, which is always individual. But coming back to my path specifically, it's there have been experiences recently, 1 year ago, to be more precise, that have been very divine. Those were experiences where I was in a, let's say, divine energy or divine field. And it really changed something. It changed one of the most basic settings or attitudes that every human being can have. It's about whether you trust in life or whether you're afraid of the future. I mean, I understood the concept mentally, that it's a choice. In other videos, I will explain why this is actually a choice and why you have the power over these things. But let's just, for the introduction, let's just say I understood it's a choice, but only on the mental level. But with that experience that I had, it was the experience, it was direct knowledge, it was direct wisdom of these things. There was no intellect necessary, it was the feeling. It was the feeling that there is this higher entity and, it does the right things. You just have to kind of connect to it, and that's kind of the goal. Because these states were so intense and so blissful. I think you can call them enlightened states. I'm not saying that right now I am in these states. That's not the point. I mean, that's not it. But I experienced these states a few times. And I can just wish that you will also experience these kind of states. If you do not, you have missed a big part of life. Trust me. You want to experience these states. It's vastly different from what you have experienced so far. One of my experiences, which will also be in a different video on this channel, is my first ecstasy that I experienced without any drugs. So, yeah, there's a lot to gain. And I hope that with the videos that you find on this channel, you develop further on your own path, that you gain trust in yourself, and that you gain the power again that you have given to the outside and to other people. And yeah, my intention is to create a better world where, there's less suffering, more enlightenment, more joy and everything. And I'm hoping that, this channel contributes to this goal. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the other videos, and see you in the next one.